Diving straight into it, Tom, the game of the week. I am very excited to watch this game. Miami coming straight off a 70-point outing against a Buffalo team that I think that was one of the best defensive performances last week that I've seen in a few weeks. Where do you want to go here, Tom? I'll let you lead us.
Well, I mean, there's so much to talk about. You start with Devon Achane, who is now the RB6 in total points after playing one game. I'm not sure I ever remember a player missing that much time to start the season and suddenly being so high up the leaderboard like that. And what he achieved was truly mind-blowing. And I think the big worry with him was that he wasn't going to be able to sustain runs straight up the gut. But when you've got a head coach as creative and imaginative as the Dolphins do, you don't need that. He was in motion. They had all kinds of run schemes. So it'd be really interesting to see how the Bills approach try to defend both Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert, who, I mean, what got lost a little bit was Raheem Mostert looked incredible. Like he's up to 4.6 yards per carry this year he's up from 4.6 yards per carry last year to 5.6 this year. So when you consider them, yeah, it's just fantastic. And we did all this without Jaylen Waddle playing, I think Waddle has kind of flown under the radar a little bit so far this season because he hasn't had a touchdown. And so that's meant that he hasn't had these massive games. But in both the games which he's played, even when he left early, he's had over 75 yards. So I think if you're looking for a contrarian play, I like the idea of playing Jaylen Waddle this week at 7,600 on DraftKings. When you consider players coming back from injury, we don't want players coming back from hamstring and soft tissue injuries. But concussion, very rarely there's anything like what happened with Tua last year. It's normally pretty black and white. If you clear concussion protocol, you clear it and you're healthy and you're good to go. So I'm fine playing Jaylen Waddle. In terms of the Bills side of things, I think it's tricky because Gabe Davis is quietly having a nice start to the season, but it's not been quite as valuable because the Bills are putting so much to Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, and James Cook. And those low ADOT passes, they kind of help move the ball. So the Bills are sustaining drives, and they don't need to take as many deep shots to Gabe Davis. So I don't mind adding Gabe Davis into Bill stacks if you're playing on DFS. I think if you're looking for deep leagues, he's a fine start because this Miami defense isn't incredible, but they are weaker against the slot. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Stephon Diggs really spend a lot of his time in the slot this weekend. But yeah, I mean, Josh Allen, he bounced back in a big way after that ugly opening game against the Jets. He's had back-to-back points of 21 or more. So I think you can be confident that this game is going to turn into a really good one. I mean, what do you think about Dalton Kincaid? Because he's currently the tight end 21. He's at 3.7 targets per game or so. Like it's not massively enticing, but would you start him here?
I think this is going to be a ridiculous take because I think the thing that needs to improve with Dalton Kincaid for him to be better for fantasy is his blocking. Now, bear with me on this. The problem with Dalton Kincaid is that the upside is there because we're seeing him used out of the slot. We're seeing him used as that big-bodied slot receiver that, all the hype was coming into the offseason. But the problem is that defenses are matching Dalton Kincaid in the slot with nickel and dime personnel. They're treating him as a receiver because Buffalo and mainly Dalton Kincaid isn't a good enough blocking tight end to force teams into heavier personnel. And that's the problem, is that it's all well and good being a big body tight end that can play receiver. But if you're not going to make teams honor you as a run blocking tight end, you're just a wide receiver. This is the issue that Mike Gesicki's had for the last 4 years. So I think Dalton Kincaid's got the technique. I think he's got the size, the strength. I just think he needs to put it all together, and that's going to take time. This is the reason why we say rookie tight ends take time. I think everything is there, but it's probably going to be back end of the kind of the season rather than I think these next few weeks. So for me,
I was just going to say it's a little frustrating to not see any more creativity used with him. Like, it's this low ADOT stuff. They're trying to make it a priority to get him the ball at times, but it's not in the same way that we're seeing Sam Laporta used, or you see certain other players like Luke Musgrave, where the Packers were drawing up downfield targets from and stuff. Kincaid so far, we kind of really haven't seen that. So it'd be nice to see some of that.
Absolutely. And these two offenses are perfectly diametric in terms of, we talked about Devon Achan. He's run 18 rushing attempts last week. 3 of them crossed the line of scrimmage between the tackles. Like, I've never seen a running back used, apart from like a guy who gets maybe 1 or 2 touches. I've never seen a running back get 18 carries and 15 of them go outside. Like, it's mind-blowing. But Miami are using players in such unique and interesting ways and being creative. And Buffalo are just going, we're going to line up, we're going to beat you because we're good and we've got Josh Allen. And that's fine. That's fine. That works against 95% of the teams. But this is part of the reason why Buffalo keep falling down in the playoffs, because they're not creative, because they're not using Dalton Kincaid in ways to get him free releases, to get him lined up in, matchup that are suitable. And I think that the problem is that Buffalo at the moment are leaving too much on that 12 and 21 personnel world, which means that Kincaid's just not getting matchups. I want to see like 3 tight end sets. I want to see them go heavier, force teams to go base personnel, and then you can almost guarantee that Kincaid's going to get lined up on a linebacker. Force those matchups to really, utilize the worlds.